Screen time salutations to all you internet dwellers out there, and welcome to another episode of Screen Time Continuum. I am Nick, and I am joined, as always, by Keelan. What's going on, man?
Not much. It's going well on this great Odin's Day, coming in for episode 6 of Loki
The last time we get to say that.
Right? Yeah. Season finale.
For now.
So yeah, I am excited for this Odin's Day, hoping to get over the hump.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. Happy Odin's Day to everybody too. And we got the mustard here. Dijon, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just trying to get through the week. All right. How about you guys? You doing all right?
Not too shabby. It is hump day, so can't complain. And we're hoping that you guys are having a wonderful evening out there, or anytime you're listening to this. Thank you so much. We very much appreciate it. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the 6th episode, kind of redundant, of Loki, the final episode of this season. And this is your fair warning now. It's going to be a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the 6th episode of Loki, please consider turning back now and coming back to us when you're done. Or if you don't mind being spoiled or have seen it, welcome to this episode and take this journey with us. We very much appreciate it. And throughout the episode, if you guys have any comments for us, please feel free to leave them in the comment section and we will respond to them. And let's just jump right into it, guys. Episode 6, the finale. Let's start with Dijon. First impressions. How do you feel about it?
I'm happy with it, to tell you the truth. I hate that Marvel does this. You know, you have that interesting beginning, kind of, let's go for that stroll. And then kind of shitty middle. And then they're like, oh, so that's what you were trying to do. Ending, then it'd be like, boom, now we getting your ass all riled up for what's to come. I'm like, I hate you guys for this. But thank you.
Yeah, that seems to be their MO for sure. Yeah.
But I'm happy it's over for now. It gives me some insight on what to expect for certain movies. Like, I'm more hyped up for Spider-Man Far Away from Home. I forgot.
No Way Home.
Yeah.
No Way Home. Hopefully that the rumors are right. I would love to see Tobey Maguire, and I can care less about Andrew Garfield come back and what they're going to do with the next Doctor Strange. And I'm just hyped for the multiverse and what's going to be planned.
Yeah, I can share that sentiment. Keelan, first impressions, man.
First impressions, I enjoyed this episode. I like how it wrapped up the season, and I am actually excited to know where they're going to take the information we got in this episode, or in this season, and what's coming forward. I totally agree with everything Dijon just said. Man, rough start, but
for sure
landed like a cat on all fours, man. They definitely landed like a cat on all fours.
Yeah, I mean, I think I will share the sentiment with you guys. Maybe in my stereotypical fashion, be a little bit more critical. But I definitely understand the sentiment that Dijon shared about this kind of like feeling a little bit duped by the story because it takes so long to get to that final rewarding point where things make sense. And it kind of, to me, I resent that too, because I'm like, okay, why did you take 6 episodes for me to get like an interesting character that I actually want to see more of and a storyline that I actually really am interested in now? Like, you had to give me 5 episodes of meh just so that I can be like, okay, I'm ready for season 2. And I don't know, like, that kind of pisses me off a little bit because I know we'll get into this more deeply, but the concept of Kang, or He Who Remains, at least right in this iteration, was phenomenal. I mean, the character is so good. I was captivated by his performance. I forget the gentleman's name. I think his last name's Journey.
Real name, I'm not sure.
Yes,
I'm just gonna say the dude from Lovecraft.
There you go. Yes, he is also in that. But he did a really great job kind of stealing that whole episode. And so I'm a little bit miffed that it took 5 episodes to get something that I'm actually interested in. But fair enough, I'm interested. So,
it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's the build-up. Marvel is all about the build-up. The build-up. And I can't wait to see this dude play this character to the extent and what other variations of this character he can play.
That part.
Like I am ready to see him play that full-on villain once we get to that evil variant version of himself even more so, which is Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror. Even more so, I'm like,
yeah,
I can't help it. Marvel is like, in my opinion, like 90% on nose with fucking casting. Get rid of Larson, but
agreed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, listen, there's a blemish on every China dish. They're doing great.
No, I mean the casting for Kang. Actually, I'm just going to say he who remains, right? Because this isn't exactly Kang the Conqueror, but it's one of Kang's variations.
Yeah,
it's a variant of Kang, which I thought was fascinating, actually.
For me, really quick. Sorry about that, Dejan.
No worries.
I thought it was just brilliant, not just with his introduction, but when they questioned what is your name, how he went through those steps and then went through the steps of explaining everything, which we'll get to in a moment, I'm sure. I thought that was so pivotal that no matter how we wanted to go about it, the moment he said the ruler, a conqueror, it was like, oh, we know. Wait, what is he? There's still more he's saying. Maybe that's not him. And it was like that misdirect, but when you know just enough to know what you need to know, it's like, okay, we're just dealing with a new big bad. It doesn't even matter what you call him. If he has that level of power, all right, cool.
Yeah. And this is I'm assuming this is a variant that, I mean, they admitted it. He doesn't even really have powers. This variant. He who remains is just a human that was a smart scientist that was able to kind of be it's kind of cool that they took I don't know if they took the concept or Jet Li's The One took the concept from Marvel, which is probably closer to the truth. Right. But the concept of The One with Jet Li, where it's like this dude is basically fighting, iterations of himself to be the ultimate iteration of himself, which is, I just think is awesome. Which is
interesting that you bring that up, because I did some little research on it after that. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, just this dude reading up what other people are saying. And I decided to get this link, and I went into the Marvel database. I'm like, this dude legitly in the comics, because I don't know enough of his character per se. And this dude literally there was different iterations of him as he went through different timelines doing what he did. So I like that Marvel Studios basically reinvented the wheel with this character, which they seem like they love to do. And they kind of played this thing where he was basically all these people, which is great, because I'm like, this is what a multiverse is about. This is what these what if moments are about. Certain people you think that can be that person can either be a woman, a man, a kid, Black, Hispanic, whatever. This is the beauty of the what if and the multiverse. And this dude was also another character called Immortus.
Okay.
So I'm like, wow, but it all fits for this situation, especially when he's like, and it just made it even sweeter by him saying, hey, look, there's other variants of me at this level, and I'm trying to keep their ass in check. This is why I did what I did. Right. There was a multiverse before, and this is the reason why it's not. And it kind of like throws in the whole situation with what the Ancient One was saying back in Endgame, but it just expands what she was saying to Smart Hulk.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And once that shit happened, he's just like, I don't know what's going to happen now. Which I think it has something to do. Which I think this dude is smarter. He's still playing. He's playing the puppet games, even though that iteration of him is dead. Right. But I think he sent something to Renslayer to kind of like he planned it even more so to continue what he did. So I think the whole idea, when they were like, well, the Avengers did what they were supposed to do, was like, oh, that was what I needed to get what I needed to go.
Right.
What the Avengers did in Endgame. So I think and that ending was just like, ooh, the TVA has basically been reset.
Yeah. Oh, that's that's
time is being reset, it seems.
Well, I was under the impression that that's just that's a different timeline now, because Mobius doesn't know who Loki is. So that's just a totally different Mobius, and that's a TVA that where Kang is actually the head of it.
Yeah, because at the end of that, he looked at the statue, and it wasn't three statues.
It's just him.
Remains. Yeah. Yep. Well, so before we even get down into there, I want to start at the beginning. Like, I loved where the beginning was, and I want to start at the beginning in terms of like not going through the information that happened. Episode 1. No. If we want to go that far back, I can allude to, we did have a brief discussion about what was Sorcerer Supreme, or the Ancient One, having a discussion with the Hulk about the timelines and how that's clearly correlated to this. I did enjoy seeing that come full circle when we got to He Who Remains explaining. It was like, I swear he just said the same thing she said back then. So I get exactly what you meant as far as how that reminded you so much. And it seems like exactly what she was explaining in that moment. But Miss Minutes, like, we come through, well, first the intro. She's super shady, but so first we come through the intro was great to me. The initiation of all the different voices of the characters, and then you realize, like, oh, you're not just getting the voices of the characters, you're getting the voices through time. Like, we're literally traveling through the sounds of time. But then when we get to the castle,
to Greta Thunberg.
Oh gosh, why did I? I'm even mad at, like, I spaced and had to say it out loud, and then it clicked. So they get inside the castle, though, and at first I'm thinking, like, oh, it's gonna be like a monster, they're gonna have to fight. No, it's Miss Minutes, and I'm immediately like, uh-oh.
I said the same thing.
Like, I knew, like, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. There were multiple times after we would do episodes, and I kept thinking, I would have it in my notes. I kept looking back at my notes, and I'm like, how do I never bring up Miss Minutes? And she's in every single note I write. Every episode, I have a note somehow about Miss Minutes, and I didn't mention her in any episode. However, the moment she popped up, I was like, how'd I know she had something to do with this? And then I felt like I cheated everybody. I could have said this out loud. But what I think is going on with Miss Minutes is this. I don't think He Who Remains is in control of her. Because that's what they were kind of alluding, like, oh, he wants you to see this. I don't think he's in control of her. I don't think he even knows about Miss Minutes. I think she's something like kind of an anomaly that's just beyond his purview.
I think he does, because he's in the conversation. Once he's revealing himself, he's eating an apple. She's like, oh, so that's what she still calls me.
Ah, you're right. But no, and that's what I'm not saying he's not. Oh, wait, no, I did say he's not aware of it.
Then I guess he is aware. Instructed some files to be given to Renslinger, and that's what bugs me. I don't know if that's a different timeline at the end, or that's something Renslinger had created, because she did get files from him.
Sorry. She got, okay, so this is my theory on that. First off, Renslayer is definitely a contingency plan to whatever the Lokis were going to decide. However, I believe that one of two things is true when it comes to Miss Minutes. Either Miss Minutes is working on her own accord by giving whatever files she gave to Renslayer, because they immediately made her think, let me go find out who's in charge of this. But that also makes you think, like you were saying, that could have been a different timeline. Because what do you mean go find out? Like, they've already found it. And if you still don't know how to get through the void, okay, never mind. You haven't figured that out yet. That's one part. Or, like I said a moment ago, that's all it is he sent Miss Minutes to give her that information so that she is that contingency. They do what they did, which is kill him. She's going to travel through all the timelines. He's not going to be necessarily on a sacred timeline, and whichever one of him she finds is going to be the one who resets the balance.
Yeah, goes back and is the head of the TVA. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah. I think it's really interesting that we're 15 minutes into this so far. We haven't mentioned Loki at all.
Oh,
I just think that that's an interesting commentary about where the strengths of this story lie, and I think it doesn't lie in either Loki, which is interesting, because really what is most compelling about this show right now is the TVA and now Kang.
Man, which we've been waiting for.
Exactly, and I think this has been. I think the series is just for the name, and the name was just a catalyst to push things along.
Yeah, I would have been fine if it was just a TVA show.
No. See, basic Loki misdirection.
And I think that they needed somebody like Loki or Tom Hiddleston to push this agenda. Because to tell you the truth, I mean, the TVA was a part of like the Thor comic series. So I think they kind of mixed it up and just made it his own thing. Because, like I said, Kang was basically kind of introduced through the Fantastic Four. So I'm like, they're not throwing out those guns yet for the Fantastic Four yet. I think that's going to be at the end of this phase as they already kind of like, how would you call it? Kind of teased.
Yeah. So do you guys think Kang is just going to be the perpetual villain of the MCU for a while, which I think might be pretty interesting.
I think as far as the multiverse is concerned, yes.
Right.
And I think we kind of knew that because it was just like one of those moments like we knew who was casted for like the next Spider-Man, which was Tom Holland, of course. It was just that idea when we finally seen him in, Civil War, it was like, yes. And I think this was a moment for a lot of people. They knew who Kang was casted as, and they were just like, people were probably at home watching this like, yes. And then we already know he's going to have a bigger part in Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. So, damn, we probably won't get to see it till then, or hopefully we might get to see more tidbits of it in Spider-Man. God, I really hope the rumors are true about this fucking movie.
There might be some stingers, that relate to him too, kind of like how they did with Thanos. Where it's like you get the story of Thanos and all of the stingers of the MCU movies.
Look, I'm feeling right now like I should have got my SAG card. I could have been He Who Remains, because that's just an awesome character. I would have loved to be cast as that character.
Super cool.
So, man, now you're making me bring up the Lokis. I wasn't at the Lokis yet.
The weakest part of the show, man.
Well, okay. So even before we get to the Lokis, then no. Okay, so we're still at He Who Remains, but once they have found He Who Remains, the Lokis, Loki and Sylvie, I thought it was interesting how he played them along, kind of explaining how which I don't think he played them along on this part, how he paved the way for them to get to him. I believe that he truly did that, and when that needed them there for this decision to be made, because he's been through everything. He understood that things were going to get into a disarray, and there's a certain period of time in which I will not know what's going on. Let me just kind of push that into motion and put myself in a position to where either I'll be at the end or I would be at the stability. Which one? And I don't get to make that choice, but clearly he created the levels of it. So
yeah, well, I think it's also just kind of like a illustration of how time is cyclical, right? So he fought in the multiversal war and kind of solidified the sacred timeline, only to have eons later the sacred timeline obliterate into a multiverse, which will then perpetuate him to fight in the multiversal war again. And so it's just kind of going in a loop.
Right. And that's where I believe that he didn't want to do that was Miss Minutes. And this is why I wanted to make sure we brought her up. She offered everything that they could have possibly wanted for everything we know about them as the fans, as the people on this side of the screen. She offered them everything, including the ability to be together with all of those things, and they declined. I think that was a simple test. Yeah, they maybe should have taken the deal, but I think that was just a simple test of will, right?
Well,
so the whole thing is free will.
And it's a very it's called The Temptress. We did an episode of Exofathom about the hero's journey. And in every tale there's a temptress. Now this isn't a male or a female, but it's an archetype of temptation to make the hero go off of his path and then go into something comfortable, which is really just a bastardization of what they really want in the first place. So I thought that was a nice little nod to, allegorical storytelling and stuff like that. But
So they get through that. And then, of course, we get the Flash and Mobius. We'll get back to that. But so once he's explained to them everything after we've gotten to them, he already has an understanding of what they will and won't do because he's seen everything through time. I think all of that was factual. I think at the moment of the offer, he was capable of doing all of those things. But once they used their free will to surpass taking that, things started going a little different because these aren't the kind of decisions that the average people or beings would make in those situations. So
Which
then
kind of confused me though, because well, I mean, but he did know that he knew that they were going to kill him, and then the multiverse would start. He knew that.
Well, that's the thing.
That was one of the two options.
Right. There were two options. And that was the thing is
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he knew which option was going to be chosen. And that's where when he goes, we just passed the, what was it? The
Threshold.
The threshold.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's like when he says we passed the threshold, I was wondering what threshold, like, is this the threshold of time? But no, it was a threshold of knowledge, threshold of information.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Uncertainty.
That's okay. Oh, so yeah, once he passed that threshold, I just felt like there's a reality of how far you can go on what you do know. And once you get past that, I think that's where time really diverges. Like, had they taken it, everything stays in line, and he controls the sacred timeline, so to speak. So of course you would know everything coming and everything going because you created it. You're that far ahead of it. But once the multiverse started to split, the timeline started to split back into a multiverse, I think that's why he no longer had knowledge of what was going on, because he was no longer in control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it was no longer of his creation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of God in Supernatural, or what was it? Chuck in Supernatural.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think it was acted really well. Again, I think he kind of stole the show from the people that it was named after.
Yeah, we should definitely call this He Who Remains season 2.
Yeah, honestly, I was not impressed with either of the performances of the Lokis, and I don't know. There's something about the decision. We'll get to that later, but the decision kind of irked me a little bit too, because I'm not really I don't understand how I'm supposed to feel about it, but but I don't know. I just wasn't really convinced about the dynamic between the two Lokis. I'm still not convinced. It feels weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't even convinced at the there was this whole lovey-dovey moment, and at first I was like, oh, they finally made that happen on screen, and they made it somewhat believable. And then there was the whole fight and the push off, and then I was like, why'd you ruin that? You actually did semi-well. Why'd you ruin that? Why? For what? Just let them have a basic couples argument at that point. How about that?
That moment I was just like,
just a disagreement.
So you guys caved in and did it. Okay.
Right. I feel like they fought that on set, and eventually they just had to say okay and do it.
Yeah. He's like, I want it.
Man, it's like this romantic montage that just came out of nowhere. And on top of that, it came after this whole back and forth thing of you can't trust me because I can't be trusted, and Sylvie's never trusted anyone, and I'm untrustworthy. And look, listen, honey, Linda, listen, honey. It's not that serious.
And I think that's where that threshold came in, what he spoke of, because he was like, oh, fuck. They didn't meet the agenda. She's so bloodthirsty on revenge, fucking up her life. Then he is like, no, dude, you're Loki. You're supposed to betray and all of that shit. And like, motherfucker.
At a point, He Who Remains comes off as a Loki.
Well, yeah, I think he did that on purpose to set a divide between them, because he was really the reason that they started fighting in the first place.
Because he basically said what he needed to and sat back.
He called both of them out, and then they realized, oh shit, and that kind of made them start fighting with each other. But even then, I still don't really understand what we're supposed to feel about Sylvie's decision, because I understand like it's free will, but then also like it
was convoluted.
Yeah. I think writing wise, yes, convoluted for sure. But I think as the setup, I think it was sincerely done on purpose. That brings me back to the files that was sent from Miss Menace to Renslinger, where she's like, well, what is this? And she's like, well, this is what you need at the moment. This is all you need for what you got to do.
Yeah, he thinks this is what you need. You're right. Yeah. And
I'm like, well, I think he was planning on saying it. And that pause really got me when he's just sitting there and he's like, well, what are you afraid of? And he's just like, myself. And I'm like, and I think he wanted this to sincerely all happen because I guess he was probably bored.
Yeah, he said that.
But
Yeah.
I also kind of got from him, he was truly afraid of the other
Yes.
Kangs. And he really didn't want the other Kang. Like, so this is what was interesting to me, which it makes Sylvie's choice a little bit more convoluted, because he was genuinely worried that the other Kangs were going to create this war between universes again. And like I really bought his reasoning. Like, hey, I understand, but the only way to keep us from having, a multi-dimensional war where people are slaughtered endlessly is to kind of curate this timeline in which, yes, people don't have free will, but, I thought it was it's definitely a utilitarian nightmare, but
in a sense, yeah.
Like what we're dealing with government today, yeah.
Right. Am I the only one? Quick question, and if so, then I'll explain. Did anyone understand what was the purpose of the timeline? Like the actual purpose of the sacred timeline?
One Kang, most likely.
Nah.
One who controls just everything.
To keep the other Kangs from existing.
Nope.
I mean, because to tell you the truth,
I got it. I feel like I got it locked and loaded too.
To tell you the truth,
do you know, or are you?
No. I don't know. I have a strong speculation.
Okay,
do it.
You know what? I do know. How about that?
All right, fair enough.
Super strong speculation. Okay. The speculation is something that He Who Remains did say, and he said how the multiversal war. It wasn't so much about the multiversal war and them destroying other universe or multiverses. It was the creation of Alioth through the multiversal war because of all of the exchange back and forth through the timeline and how that ripped the fabric of time and created Alioth. And so I'm thinking, when you have a multiverse and you have these branches of timelines, Alioth can jump through these timelines and literally eat an entire timeline.
And maybe it's also kind of like a hint at Galactus too.
Ooh,
where it's like, like now that there's a multiverse, now Galactus somehow comes into being and starts eating universes.
That's a buffet. Or I'm sorry, that's a buffet.
You know what? And there is, thinking about that, there was a little story where Galactus did that, where before the next Secret War had happened a couple of years ago in the comic books, I think Galactus had got to a point where they were like, all right, we killed Galactus in our universe is dead. But what the fuck is that? And Galactus was just jumping from different timelines, eating shit. He's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, he's bigger than the
I mean, that would be pretty incredible if Kang, what would be great is like if in the next few franchises Kang is seen as the villain until you realize he was trying to keep Galactus away, and he
does allude to not being the villain,
but
but then he also says they're all villains, so that kind of, in my opinion, that contributes to you need a little good for bad balance.
Well, which is true with a lot of the MCU movies, which I think they do a beautiful job, is you can relate to what you think is the villain. You can most
on average.
Yeah, and it's just like, are they really villains, or are they really just someone with their own agenda trying to see it out through because they think it's best? But you know what? That theory, you just gave me an idea that Kang probably is the king or the fucking champion of that war in his universe, toppled over everybody's universe.
Yeah.
And he just didn't want to see it happen again because he can be dethroned.
Or he could be the coward who stood by and watched everybody die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did say that he managed to sort of enslave Alioth, so obviously he's got some skill.
He did say that. He said he weaponized Alioth. Dang, I didn't realize the change in the difference in verbiage. He did say weaponize was his language.
Yeah,
he said I weaponized Alioth, and he seemed a little taken by even saying it. Yeah, like saying he has to use it. Like, no, I had to do that. I had to do that shit, son. I had to kill these people. Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a man.
What makes me happy about all this is my theory about the multiverse popping up again was spot on.
Oh yeah. which will make everything, I think, pretty interesting going forward for sure. I don't know what they're going to do with Sylvie in the next season, because in my eyes, she kind of seems like the villain again. I don't know. This is why I'm confused by how I'm supposed to feel about her.
I don't know if she would be the villain, but she definitely would not be a welcome party. And mostly because you didn't cause just this time. You caused reality to hit critical mass because of vengeance.
Yeah. Because of a grudge.
Yeah. Just because of a grudge. And when you consider that grudge wasn't even really like, you didn't understand what was going on. And then when you did understand it, you just didn't care because you were so hell bent on being right.
Yeah, because it's like there's a bigger picture than just our own selfish reason. And Loki, Tom Hiddleston, Loki just totally got that right in and there. Like, come on, really? Come on, think about it.
This is bigger than us, is what he says. And, I thought that was good too. But then, as I said, it just kind of confused me because,
tongue action.
Tongue action.
Tongue action and that huge chop she took at his neck and somehow stopped in time. Like, a professional kick, like that looked like a New Zealand kickboxer that was ready to take somebody's head off and then held the kick and save somebody's life. That's what that looked like to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting too because like in movies or shows where like women have to fight men can never really hit them because it would look like abusive. So it was one of those situations where like, oh yeah, she just kicked the shit out of Loki again, just like Renslayer beating the crap out of Mobius in like one move.
Man, that was even with that, you're no match for me. I guess I'm not.
Owen Wilson is no fighter in no movie.
That's true. That is fair. But he looked like a 70-year-old man going against a kung fu master.
Right. Look, Owen Wilson even got Vince Vaughn beat up in the movie.
That's true. He did. Great movie. But yeah, so I mean, I'm a little bit confused as to how they're going to treat Sylvie going forward, because it seems as though I think what they'll do is they'll paint it as, oh, well, she was giving free will to the universe and humanity. And I don't know if I totally buy that as like, oh, okay, then, she's fine. She didn't do anything bad, because like there's still a lot of ramifications. I mean, you could say that if anybody dies in the next slate of phase or whatever, it's because of her, right?
You would think so, but I just remember why it wouldn't really matter how we think they should look at her. If they don't remember Loki, why would they remember Sylvie?
No, I understand that, but I'm saying as the audience, how am I supposed to feel about her? I'm not really sure.
As the audience, we'll view her similar to remember how you felt when you saw the first Fast and Furious and then you found out that Brian was a cop? Yeah, that's how you're gonna feel about Sylvie next season. Like, I don't think I'm supposed to like you, but you keep doing likable things. Yeah.
I'd be okay if they just got rid of both Lokis, and
I'm with it. Make this
make
He
this
Who
just a
Remains
TVA show. Yeah.
No, look, they should make an HWR. Not even TVA is out. I need an HWR show. Explain.
Yeah.
Explain. So, look, and they need to give us at least 6 variants. 6 variants. One that's, I guess, perfect, which would be the guy that we ended up actually meeting, and then 5 other variations. And we follow their journeys. Boom.
Fuck that. Just bring the alligator back. I just want to see the alligator.
Just bring Alligator Loki.
Yeah. Alligator Kang. How about that?
Alligator Kang.
Fight Alligator Loki.
Now, something that was noticed when he was explaining how everything happened, who he was, when he was doing his display with his little claymation Mercury, whatever you want to call that, only 5 universes projected. Right. And then there's a thing. I think I mentioned this like episode 2 or 3, where in the ending, you're looking at some of the things that are popping up in the credits. And one of them is a form that has a man with a circle head, or a body, a human looking thing with a circle head, equal sign. And then it has 4 other bodies. And those bodies are a rectangle, a square, a circle, and a hexagon, I believe. So you have a total of 5 shapes. The circle, blah, 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 blah. And it made us think here at my house when we were watching it. It made us think maybe there are really only 5 multiverses and a bunch of universes inside of those multiverses. And the multiversal war was between the 5 variations. And you have these 5 variations, and then whoever comes out on top is who is at the, precipice.
I mean, I maybe they could go that route. I only think differently because he said that there will be an infinite amount of hymns that will come back.
I remember that. It was just interesting. Like when I say 5, it's the amount that will actually be introduced. Like we can't be an infinite amount, So it's like the pivotal points, the main characters that we would see. So I'm believing we'll see about 5 variations.
I think that's probably fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're not going to see too many variations because you're just talking about money on top of money.
Yeah, in fact, we only saw 7 variations of Loki. I just thought about that.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, you don't need a high amount just to get the concept of the multiverse, in the head. I think that probably 5 would be a decent amount, even. And obviously, I don't think we'll hear the stories of each 5
not in depth.
Not in depth, but
we're not going to hear that this one went to Dartmouth and this one went to Stanford and this one went to a state school.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, it'll be interesting. I look forward to seeing what happens. And of course, the stinger at the end is that there will be a season 2. So.
Man, I thought that was like beautiful and let me be honest, I read the synopsis before we started it, and then I found out we were told, and I didn't even catch that. But yeah, I thought it was crazy. I read the synopsis and I was like, did that just say the end of the season? And I was like, I think the other one said the end of the series, and this is definitely saying the end of the season. Let's see what they do. And I didn't like the way they told us it was going to be a season 2. Can I be clear on that?
I told you.
Yeah.
You did tell us. But I realized that after that I saw it, though.
That was the worst part about this, to tell you the truth. Is one of the things where before the series started, they're like, yep, season 2 is greenlit. I'm like, God damn.
Oh, see, you had already known.
And on top of that, they're like, yep, we're going to have a female Loki. I'm like, God damn, come on, people.
Oh, you got that long ago. Wow.
It was like a week before the show aired, and I was like, and after that, they're just like, yeah, we're moving it up from not Fridays to Wednesdays, and we're boosting it up 1 week ahead
Disney's
of time. I'm
really bad about keeping things under wraps. They're terrible at that.
Too many people on the payroll. Too many. I think too many third-party contracts. So it's really hard to keep a tight seal on everything.
Yeah, that's true.
And you think of the amount of work that Disney puts out. How much work do you think is being done at a time?
Right.
Disney easily puts out like 6 movies a year.
I blame Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo. That's all I'm blaming.
So what do you guys think is going to happen for season 2? We got Loki is in a new timeline, it seems, where the Mobius doesn't know who he is. And it's, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what that situation is going to be like, because that's a TVA where Kang is, the head of it.
He's ran things, yeah. So look, they ain't praying to no timekeepers or worshiping no timekeepers. They praying to Kang, or He Who Remains. And so you definitely can't walk in there spreading the bad word on He Who Remains, because he's the boss.
Yeah. So that makes me wonder if there's going to be, there's going to have to be timeline jumping apparatuses.
Tempads?
I don't think would the tempad work on a multiverse? It seemed I thought it would only work. Okay.
I get what you're saying, because that would be a different time, literally a different time.
You're not totally different
times, you're jumping universes or multiverses. That's a good question, and that's what I think. That's exactly what He Who Remains was explaining. Is they figured out how to jump. He figured out, each of his different cells figured out how to jump the multiverse.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But I think it seemed like that's how they created the Tempad, was getting through the multiverses.
Maybe, maybe they don't need to create something new. Although I think it would be interesting that they would have to create something new, just because, again, you're dealing with different timelines entirely.
Right. And at this point, they're also starting over. So we would have to see how they got to that point at some point.
I'm telling you guys, my theory, they're setting all this shit up. We got Endgame. We're just going to have a big fucking Avengers movie called Avengers Secret War, or Multiverse War. All these motherfuckers are coming together. They're going to be fighting different variants for themselves just to save this universe. And we might get to see people like Robert Downey come back, Chris Evans come back, or even Scarlett Johansson come back just as fucking themselves, but different versions of themselves, since their characters are kind of like flushed out. It's like, here, we'll give you this paycheck. Here's your 10 mil. Just come back for this movie.
Right.
Look, that 10 mil they'll make back quick. They won't care.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Do you guys have anything else that we wanted to add?
Hyped.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy it. As far as what I think is coming again in this next season, it's mostly I need more He Who Remains. I don't really care to speculate much about what, because it's coming with Loki, but I need more He Who Remains. I need that backstory. I don't necessarily need, at this point, I don't necessarily need anything else on the TVA. It makes sense now. And also I need to see what I need to see one of those variants that are like those quote unquote evil variants. I need to see one of them come very, very close to their goal before we get the good side.
You know what? I'm going to make a weird prediction right now. When is Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out? The third one. Let's see. Because
February 22nd.
Not a docket I'm looking at.
No worries. I'm gonna look that up because I think this is gonna press along, and I agree. I think the whole thing about season 2 of Loki is not gonna be really season 2 of Loki. I think it's just gonna be yet again a title that helps push along the agenda to make the steps go further. I think we're gonna get our Spider-Man. God, I really hope it deals with the multiverse.
To answer your question, sorry not to cut you off totally, but to answer your question, February 17, 2023 is when it's slated for.
So cool. So it's basically about a year and a half from now. So I think we're gonna get this fucking Spider-Man with this multiverse shit. We're gonna get this what's the shit called? Doctor Strange in the Madness of whatever multiverse. We're gonna get that. He dives into that. Then we get our season 2 of Loki next year. That gives us some more shit to be, make us get hyped up some more. And then boom, we get to see fucking full on King the Conqueror and fucking Ant-Man and the Wasp, or even another fucking variation of how one of the variants is just really stepping into this shit, and it's just gonna go more and more. And I think once it hits that fucking note for the Fantastic Four, I think shit's just gonna blow up even more. And that's when we get that ending moment, like when we first seen Avengers, and we're like, shit, we get to see Thanos. He's gonna fuck some shit up. And then boom, as long as these people stay alive.
Right. Yeah. I like that. It's funny you were saying that, and it made me have I don't know what it was, but it made me had a quick theory about He Who Remains, King the Conqueror, the Ruler. What was his other name? Impetus.
And
he's got like a regular Earth name too.
And it's but that's the point. Nathan Richards. So here's the point. Here, that is exactly the point. Is there? I think every different variation of him will be the different names, and I think what happens in this one, now that it's all starting over, there's no guarantee that He Who Remains is who comes out on. He won't be. He may not be He Who Remains this time. Kang may be the winner of everything, and that's how we get into the Kang the Conqueror and the multiverse. And I'm sure the multiverse is something that the Kang the Conqueror does not want to control. He wants to consume it. He wants to control it, but he doesn't want to tame it. He wants to let it go wild to control and consume it.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to see. Seems like there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. I begrudgingly say that I have to hold out to see what Disney has on offer again.
Man, and to think what all those things we said episode 2 and 3.
Man, I'm still saying it. I'm feeling the fatigue, guys. I need to do something that's not Disney owned soon, because
we will be Sunday.
There you go.
True,
yeah.
And now we got a stretch. I mean, I don't know. If we decide to do the What If series, can we just do the end of it?
I think we can do just a season sort of recap. I think that's fine. Just a season review where we could just talk about it like we did with Love, Death, Robots almost. Yeah. Okay. Well, do you guys have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I mean, one more time.
I'm hyped for James Gunn Superman.
God.
No thanks.
How about this? Since we're bringing up James Gunn Superman, I am really excited for the next Transformers movie.
Beast Wars?
I wish it was Beast Wars, but I forget the name of it. But the next Transformers movie, I'm excited for that because one of my current top rappers, if not probably for the rest of my lifetime, one of my favorite rappers is going to be in that, Toby Nwigwe, and I'm excited because that's dope. So hopefully we'll be covering that, but that's like the same time as Ant-Man Ant-Man Part 3 come out, so we got some time. But just as we're naming James Gunn movies that nobody's gonna watch, let's name some Transformer movies that we all gonna be interested in because we all kind of waiting on the new Transformers.
I'm watching the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Oh yeah, that's coming out this year.
Is that James Gunn?
Yeah, and Suicide Squad next month.
Okay, he wins.
Suicide Squad's coming out.
He wins. Yeah. It's just Superman I'm not interested in, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I say I'm not interested in watch me turn around and watch it like, I just wanted to see if this was
it's
the one.
Better than Man of Steel.
We're like heroin addicts now. Just got to get that fix.
Right. No, I don't want it, baby. No, don't give it to me right time.
All right. But, anything else? Yeah.
The only other thing I have is ratings.
Yeah, let's get into the ratings then.
I'll go first. Wait. First, are we rating the episode or are we rating the season?
You could do both if you want.
Ooh. All right. Sorry for my inflections tonight. So I'm thinking for an episode, right? This was probably the best episode. Hands down, for me at least. So the episode I would give a 7.5. I don't think I've given any of these episodes anything more than a 7. I'll give this episode an 8. There was still a lot of Lokis in it, but man, Jonathan Majors saved them. That's his name, Jonathan Majors.
Okay,
wow,
there we go. Thank you.
Look, now it clicks. But yeah, Jonathan Majors, he saved them with the He Who Remains character. I feel like the Renslayer character stepped it up a notch. I can't remember, but Tara Strong as Miss Minutes. I like that, the pickup of that character and the addition and the way she went from this really, hi, how you doing? To kind of had that little like, nah, I got some bass in my voice and you gonna hear it. Everything outside of Loki and Sylvie was great. So Loki and Sylvie was still all right. They were still Loki and Sylvie as they were through the series. But because of that, I have to give this a 7.5 or an 8. I am going to flip a coin in my head. It's spinning. It lands. I'm calling tails. It is heads. I am still going with 7.5.
All right. So 7.5
yeah,
for the
show. For the episode.
So then what about
the series will stay at a solid 7 because 1 really good episode, 2 what the hell episodes, and 3 I guess I'll watch this again episodes that will not get you over the basic average for me. And I'm sorry for that.
That's fair. Yeah. Dijon, how do you feel?
I'm just going to do the whole series generally. I'm going to rate it based off of the first 2 series. I'm going to give it an 8. An 8 for me because started off strong for me. It was good. First 2 episodes were okay for me. That third one was meh. Fourth was meh. The last 2 episodes was good for me. And for me, it was just mainly the Easter eggs to lead up to some of my, how would you call it? Whatever. Damn, I'm blanking out too much. I got to stop messing with certain things. This predictions, and I just really, and it basically hyped me up more than WandaVision and more than Falcon and Winter Soldier. But yeah, it did hype me up, and I'm just really excited to see what's going to come next, especially with just waiting so long for something decent. But number 1 on my top is going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier, then this, then WandaVision.
Ooh.
WandaVision was just kind of, it was all right. It was just a fucking whole series of her grieving, which is fine, but there was a lot of unrushed shit for that series, and half of it I was just kind of snoring until. So yeah.
Okay.
Fair. Yeah, this episode I think I would give an 8. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I think Jonathan Majors was fantastic in it. I look forward to seeing more from him. I don't know how much more we're going to. And I think I almost lost the internet really there. So hold on just one moment. Can you guys hear me now?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I almost lost the internet for a second. Hold on. So yeah, an 8 this episode for sure. I enjoyed it a lot. Overall for the series, I think I have to knock it down a point just because there was too much that I didn't really care about. And for a series called Loki was the least interesting part of it for me.
It's TVA.
So it's TVA, it's Kang, it's all of that type of multiverse stuff that I'm really interested in. So I'm going to say 7. 7 wasn't terrible. Some really good points, but it was very blah in a lot of other points too. So
for sure,
the whole season.
We didn't really need to relive a lot of his redemption.
Yeah, no, exactly.
To tell you the truth.
For sure. Yeah. So 7 is, not bad.
So at 7, 7, and 8, we are at, what's that? 14, 22? 22 of 30
Mm-hmm.
on the season. What is the average of that?
7.3.
Yeah, thank you.
7.3. 3. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, 7.3 out of 10 is not a bad score, I would say. Decent. Certain things I definitely probably won't watch again, but I look forward to seeing what else is in store for Loki, and I guess we'll have to find out in the year or so to come.
Right. Hey, the benefit is we actually get something to follow up on from Disney for once, because the one season TV shows was kind of getting to me.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think that's true for sure.
Disney, stop the bullshit and just give me my X-Men.
Please give us our X-Men.
Jeez,
what Louise. I want. Not that Fox shit.
That's right.
No, give me what not the Fox stuff. Recast everybody. Let's just wipe the slate clean.
I'll take the Deadpool, but keep that other shit.
Yeah,
and find a way to put the old cartoon back in syndication so the kids get that goodness.
Well, to tell you the truth, they are working on that. Rebooting that 90s series.
Good, nice. Exactly the same. Don't do like they did Power Rangers and add Kapow and Kazooie like we back in the 1960s with Adam West. Yeah, I'm at your neck.
Yeah.
Nope. Hell no.
All right, gents. Do you have anything else before we wrap this one up? We're good?
I actually can say after the last episode, I did enjoy this series. Season, excuse me. Just because of that episode, it does bring it all full circle.
Yeah, I think that's a good estimation for sure. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you taking the time out today or any other day that you're listening. We very much appreciate you. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. We hope that you enjoyed Loki, the first season of Loki and the 6th episode of Loki specifically. If you want to check out what we do on our separate podcasts, Keelan has a podcast, If Numbers Could Talk. It's on at Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. He's got a Facebook page and a YouTube page. Be sure to go check him out and give him a listen every Tuesday night at 6, If Numbers Could Talk. Dijon the Mustard's got a Twitch channel called Strawberries and Coffee. He's on Tuesday and Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Sometimes he goes on in the weekends as well, but he also posts his live streams after the fact on YouTube, Strawberries and Coffee, like In and Out. Please be sure to go check him out as well. I got a podcast that is on hiatus at the moment, but we'll be coming back shortly, called Exofathom. It's on Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. Please check us out. We have a Facebook page and a YouTube page. But if you're a purist at heart and just want to hear us blabber on about TV and movies and critique things for which we have no credentials, thank you for taking this trip through the Screen Time Continuum with us. For Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
I'm Keelan.
I'm the Mustard.
Good night, everyone.